Good afternoon, how's it going? Welcome. Welcome to my show. It's your show too. Sorry it's been a while. I've just been, caught up in life. What I really mean is that I haven't been healthy enough to be able to adjust to everything, to be able to fit everything in. Because I came home from work today and this morning I was thinking, man, I am so positive today. I'm just vibrating so much yellow orange glow of energy. And then I came home, had a couple of cookies, had a huge bowl of soup, and then, got distracted by some pretty ladies online and just got real negative. And then I was just being a bum, just going through YouTube. And then as usual, I did some push-ups, did some pull-ups, whatever. Took the dog for a little walk, and now I'm feeling slightly better. But yeah, it's crazy if people say, oh, I haven't got time to do my hobby, haven't got time for a good relationship, haven't got time to look for another job. Well, maybe it's that you just put in too much crap into your mouth and into your eyes that your body cannot adjust to that. Because we have so much temptation in our lives now. There's cake, there's cookies, there's pretty women online. There's, video games. Oh, how many young people are addicted to video games? And so there's so much pleasure for the average peasant. We're not educated enough to handle that. I reckon there's a lot of opportunities to succeed in, the Western materialistic successful sense, which is important because how many great minds do you know, or great souls, or great bodies, but they are stuck in a place that just brings them down. Just the other day, I finished 1 hour earlier, and I had so much more energy. That 8-hour workday, it just really is designed to give you just enough energy to go shopping after work, and then that's it. You can't really write that beautiful resume. You can't seduce that person who's going to really bounce off you and improve each other. You just got just enough energy to consume and die. But hell, I ain't here to bring you down. I'm here to entertain y'all. It's been a pretty amazing weekend. Oh, actually, it was a really good weekend. I went down to Byron Bay with Katya. It was sensational. I really love it there, except for all the goddamn hippies. I said that to my colleague today. He's like, oh, does it remind you of yourself? But I was never a full-blown hippie. I never put up stickers on my car saying this is Aboriginal land. I never bought a van. I was always worked because I never wanted to be a slave to too much freedom. Because too much freedom, you can fall for anything, and you get used to, you change your thought processing to use people. And these guys, they stand outside their van in this parking lot in this beach in Byron Bay, and they're just they're just standing there all the time. They just show it this. Just feels like they are parading. They want to gloat how free they are. But that, to me, that's the opposite of free. If you have to show the world, and they never seem to spend too much time surfing. It's it's more about the lifestyle and the image. And, I was wondering, let's say you're a 25-year-old blonde-haired Australian male. You smoke a lot of pot, drink a lot of piss, take a lot of pingers. You like chasing backpackers, and you like catching a couple of waves. You play video games. You're using the welfare system. Maybe you work a couple of days here and there. Your parents have got some properties that they bought for peanuts back in the day, went up in value. They've given you a bit of hush money because they neglected you their whole lives. And so now you're on easy street. But the main thing people are told to do is declare to the world how they feel shame for living on Aboriginal land. Well, then get the fuck out of here. Go back to Europe. I understand where you're coming from, but then get out of here. If you're the one thing you want to tell the world, you're driving around in your vehicle Why? The one thing you can think of out of everything. There's been, what, like 10,000 years of recorded history. There's been people put their life's work into books, into music, into recipes. And the one thing you want to say is that this is Aboriginal land. I mean, which tribe? I mean, you got to be specific about this. And then, like, I understand that, so then just leave. I mean, I'm sure Germany will take you back. Go to England. Like, I'm sure it's a really beautiful lifestyle there. You get some spotted dick, cup of tea. And go to Big Ben. And I've heard they got really good buttered chicken there. But I also heard they use bread instead of rice. Like in Australia, it's very common to have rice with curry. But over in United Kingdom, they use bread. Obviously, it's very diverse. Oh, but Byron Bay is really nice. They have this walk. You go up to the lighthouse, and I just felt so... I just get this childlike euphoria. I just feel so cheeky. I got this look on my face like... I just love it. Like when you're in really good nature and you had good night's sleep and you had good food. Let me adjust this lighting. It just feels a bit crazy. Let's just go to the different setting. A bit warmer. There we go. That's better. Yeah. When you get to those really beautiful nature spots and you go for a little hike and you're eating well, you just feel like this, it's like you're in ecstasy, you know? You're just like emitting all this. Oh. And then when I'm in that zone, like I feel like 2/4 of people, 2/3 of people, they look past and like, gee, what the hell? I want what he's having. And it just feels so infectious and it just feels so alive. And I just want to like make love to the earth, you know? I freaking love it. I was saying, I want to buy an investment property here. You know, obviously, it's a far-fetched dream because I'm just above minimum wage, y'all. But, you know, you got to dream. Like, one thing I've noticed about working class people, because I consider myself middle class, even though, like, I'm living hand to mouth at the moment. Like, the way I was raised, you know, like, my father went to university. You know, we always live like we're comfortable middle class. Even if we only... I mean, when I was a kid, my parents were only, like, lower middle class. But then, you know, they did all right in South Korea and then with the real estate and stuff. But, you know, I always felt like you got to dream big. You got to, even if you fail, you still got to dream. Like, what I've noticed about working class people is that they never dream. Like, they always feel like, oh, I can't even do anything. Like, I have to buy the cheapest smokes. Like, I can never... I got to wait until my fiance's been in this job for 3 months before I can apply for other jobs. Like, they feel so... trapped, like they don't take any chances, you know? And that's the worst thing because, I mean, you got to risk it to get the biscuit. I mean, I reckon like the elitists, the people who are in the stock market, Vanguard, you know, BlackRock, they're taking risks. They're not like waiting. I mean, obviously they're calculated risks, but they're not just like, you know, stretching out their life because it goes from like 25 to 50 just like that. Like, by the time you're 23, your personality is pretty much in concrete, unless you have like some crazy thing like you go to war or you have 6 triplets. But you're pretty much set. And so you get into a set of ways, your customs, you know, you go to the same Indian restaurant and get the buttered chicken, you know, you go to the rugby game, and then your life is set. And so if you're constantly doing the same thing, your brain naturally just compartmentalizes all those memories into one category, which makes you feel like it's all just a blur. And before you noticed, you'd be 50 and you'd be having spinal bifida, and you're having erectile dysfunction, and you're having, you know, type 2 diabetes, and you know your kids are getting in car crashes. But you gotta take, yeah. I feel like, you know, you gotta dream big. But maybe it's because I've lived beyond my means. Like, you know, like my father, I've always lived like a little too gourmet. Like I live like like a rich man. You know, I really enjoy like coconut oil based chocolate. You know, I enjoy like grass fed meats. I've got fine technology. You know, I stayed in. You know, I drive a European car. Oh, speaking of which, that car cost me so much torment, so much pain. But it was good at the time, but I let it go too far. I was just too arrogant, thinking that I could go that long without servicing it. And now it's just cost me an arm and a leg. Uh-oh, here comes company. That's okay. Oh, this car. I took it to the original mechanics. These mechanics my friend recommended. They got flooded out by the HARP, where the technology floods in Brisbane. You know, it was like it's cloud seeded, and oh hey Sapphire, and so it was damaged, and I couldn't go to this mechanic. I took it to another one, and they charged me just for something that didn't. Holy shit! Look the size of that spider. But yeah, I'm rambling on. But the point is, I took it to one mechanic, took it to the next. Now it's back. I went to work today, and it stalled at the lights at the Westfield shopping centre, and it got my adrenaline racing. I was nervous as tits. But then I got it home. Took it home, and took the girlfriend's car to work. And it just, when I got home, because, I'm just, I'm going to be honest with you, even though it looks like shit, but I'm going to be honest with you, like I'm paying back money because I wasn't working for a while because of the gene therapy. I've got hesitations about the gene therapy treatment. And so my job market, is very, very minimal because I'm a second-class citizen. So I couldn't work for a while. And so I had to pay back money. And so I have, like, my thought process is very small because I'm thinking about bread. I'm thinking about financial security. I can't think big. Like I'm thinking like a working class person. Like I'm worried. Like I bought some meat today and I haven't got money for something else. And then I spent hours thinking about how to budget that. So I'm going taking Sapphire for a walk, and all I'm thinking about is budgeting. And that's just sad because I could be thinking about the meaning of life. I could be thinking about poetry. I could be thinking about how I can give to the community. I could be thinking about calling my mother. I could be thinking about baking a cake. But what am I doing? I'm like, I carry the one and 2 ones over and then X, Y, Z. And it's disappointing. I feel like since I cut my hair, like it makes it got like a big hairline. It's fucked, bro. Look at that forehead. And I've noticed, like when I had longer hair, like I do a lot of sports and I get sweaty, and so I scratch it a lot. And now it's like less hair because I'm scratching too much. And it's not good, because fucking, it's just not good. Not good to be bald unless you're like really bald. You rock it like Patrick Stewart, Jeff Bezos, Joe Rogan. But yeah, we went to Bang Bang, this restaurant, like Asian fusion in Byron Bay, and that was the shizness, yo. We had like it's like $79 per person. But there was orange duck. There was some spicy Korean style chicken. There was kingfish sashimi. There was soft shell crab burgers. There was I think that's it. I don't remember, but there was also a lunch dessert. But they just kept bringing food, and it was exquisite. And I don't really like overeating though, because when all your energy is going towards digesting food, it lowers your ability to process information. And having a sharp tool, having a sharp mind is of the utmost importance here, because you need that for so many activities. If you're like me, if you're like a conversation starter, you need it to start conversation, And if you want to be charming, to perhaps seduce your lover, you also need to do that too. When you have all the blood in your stomach and it's like just try to squash all these different proteins and carbohydrates and sugars, it's really draining. Like your body can't do anything else because it's focusing on this one activity of just digesting all these different acids and bile and fluids. So it's not good to overeat. Like when I was, in my early 20s, I used to go to like this buffet in Ferntree Gully sometimes, and I'd have like 7, 8 plates. I was going to the gym a lot, and just ridiculous, just overeating, just like a fat peasant. And it's disgusting because I was shaking after. I was literally shaking, like because of all the MSG, and that's just not right. It's I seen this Indian guru once. He said like it's not good to overeat. Like, I mean, I know so many people who they're very proud of the fact they don't drink or do drugs, but then like they abuse food. They abuse food something cruel. Like my colleague the other day, he was telling how on Saturday morning he had two Domino's pizzas and then he had Hungry Jacks for lunch and then he had like a big soup for dinner. Mmm. And they put chemicals in that food that gives you a little buzz. So maybe you're not doing heroin, but you're having a cheeseburger is not far off. You know, it's crazy. I just downloaded WavePad on my girlfriend's iPad just before because I was going to use that computer to do this recording because mine was being occupied. And it said, downloaded it, said stand with Ukraine, make a donation here. And I was just like, don't push stuff in my face, right? Us Irish lads, we don't like if you push your stuff into our face. If you want to do something, we'll do it, okay? But you're pushing in my face, you're making me resist, all right? We've got instincts, got thousands and thousands of years of the aristocracy trying to push down whatever they think is right onto us filthy peasants. But things have changed. I've got a little bit of education now. I know 10% of how the world works, so you can't control me that easily. And when you force down into my throat, like the need of this one-sided agenda, I'm like, fucking calm down, cunt. This is not cricket, okay? Look, yeah, whatever you say. You can't judge something until it's over with. I mean, something complicated as this because there's no other opinion. I was talking to Katya's dad. He's Russian. And I asked him about the Ukrainian civilians because people like Joe Rogan, he's very, very eager to please the liberal world order because his friends are liberal and he's a nice guy and he just wants to please people and it's half his audience and he doesn't want to be put into the box of like Carl Tucker, Ben Shapiro, Glenn Beck. He doesn't want David Rubin. He doesn't want to be put in that box because he doesn't think they're cool. He thinks the conservative people just like sit around with their sweaters around their neck and smoke cigars and be like, huh. He thinks that liberals have all the fun. But, and also, maybe he doesn't know people like I know. But, so here's what's up, right? The Ukrainian army, who are sponsored by NATO, which is funded by the United States military industrial complex, England, and Germany. Germany has been the number one enemy of Russia for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. Do you understand that? And listen to this. The Ukrainian army are purposely going near these buildings, schools, shopping malls, and they are waiting there because they have a lot of funding and they have techniques to try and garner Western media approval. So let's say Russia and Ukraine get into conflict and there's a building destroyed, but then they know the full story. Like when you write a lab report in Research Methods B, you have to look at both sides of the story. Now, I condone Vladimir Putin for killing innocent Ukrainians, he should be taken to a court of law and the justice system should prevail. Okay? But innocent till proven guilty, that's something I believe that the English common law states. And when information sources are so highly regulated, like RT is banned, I should say is banned, it's incredibly complex and difficult to ascertain even 10% of the other opinion. And in these shopping malls, sometimes in schools, they are hiding places for serious weaponry. Ukraine, there is a place where they're working on tuberculosis disease to spread it to a whole country. Bioweapons. This is serious shit. And Ukraine is a corrupt place. I mean, the whole world's corrupt, but Ukraine is really corrupt because they're fucking poor there, and poor people do desperate shit. Okay? Like, I'm just a little bit poor. I'm willing to do desperate shit. I mean, I'm not going to rape and pillage or steal, but, you know, I'm willing to, like, fucking work in a factory, even though I've been studying my whole life and I can talk a lot of shit. But here I am, cutting pieces of metal all day like a fucking filthy peasant because desperate times, desperate measures. You kick a man down so long, he's eventually going to pull his hair out and start kicking and screaming. But Soviet Union countries have had it really rough because look what Hollywood propaganda have represented the Slavic countries over the past 50 years. Give me one instance, name me one single film where they portray Russians or Ukrainians in a positive light, other than just a simple barbarian gangster who's just very violent and emotionless. I mean, like, Kati's father, he's a very sensitive man. Like, he's Russian. Like, apparently, when his firstborn son was born, he was very, very attached, like, very, very caring. And he was, like, holding him, like, excessively and really, really extra loving. And that doesn't sound like a barbarian to me. Like, he's, and her brother is, like, very soft. No, he's kind. Like, they're kind people. And they fucking got, like, 1,000,000 degrees. And they're full of art. And it's so much discrimination going on. It pisses me off because people say the only discrimination can be against certain people. That's not true. Against certain colors. I mean, people with, like, Caucasian skin can be discriminated against as well. So apparently, my family, girlfriend's family, I'm not sure if I'm supposed to talk about this, but fuck it. I've always been a rebel, so if I'm going to die, I'm going to die. Apparently, when they went to Germany, they went to the shopping centre in a country town a few hours from Frankfurt, and they asked very kindly the shopkeeper, "What languages do you speak? Do you perhaps speak Russian?" And they were treated like a bag of old bones that had been sitting in the back of a cupboard for 16 years. It's just not, that's just very, very unfair to me. Just because of someone's accent or the color of their skin or what their political leaders did. Maybe Vladimir Putin is an evil dictator, but it doesn't mean that every single citizen that speaks the same language as this man should be put in that category. That, to me, is despicable behavior. I mean, one thing the radical left agenda I agree with is that treat people fairly, with respect, innocent till proven guilty. Anyway, um, I just wanted to say that I really like Byron Bay. The beach is a little bit messy, but it gives it more of a rustic feel and keeps away all of the prissy, rich motherfucking tourists. Like Gold Coast, Surfers Paradise, it's just all the Gucci of there. And that it's just full of like these fat little fucking rich kids driving around on electric scooters, like on sugar highs, just flooring it, just bumping into people and like, fuck it, who cares? It's just fucking McDonald's wrappers everywhere. You know, it's just people getting filthy drunk. Yeah, obviously there's good parts, but it's a really nice beach in Surfers Paradise, but it's just a little bit too like Dettol disinfected. Oh, I was watching Theo Von before. Fuck, man, that guy is so introspective. He just puts his heart on his sleeve. Like, such a gentleman. Such a southern gentleman. I mean, he kind of looks like a bird, but he's such a gentleman. Like, I just love how he pours his heart out and he's really personal. He talks about things that are difficult. He's not trying to be cool. I mean, maybe he's trying to be cool, but he doesn't seem lame about it. Like, even his posture, you know, his posture seems relaxed. And I just really trust and love people when they talk about their demons. Like, he talks about his issue with prescription drugs, like his antidepressants. He's on them for many decades. And I mean, I personally struggle with talking. I mean, I talk about my demons, but not too much as he does. But I really feel like it's not done enough because everyone's just like, hello, how's it going? You know, actually, I'm quite a big deal. You know, I'm actually, no, I'm pretty perfect. You know? And that's just not a real interaction. People like, when they sit there, the people like at a bar, and they're like flexing, like they're always acting like they're in an Instagram shoot, you know? They're just like, hey, I'm just happen to be brushing my hair. Like, just be real about shit. I mean, I don't mean just be like sit there with the legs really far apart and just scratch yourself like a monkey, but you know, just be genuine about stuff. Yeah, it was crazy. This morning, I walked into my workplace and I was just pumping out sunshine. And then I got home and I was just lying on my bed and, you know, and I just ate too much food because I didn't have any lunch. And I came home and I had this huge bowl of soup and I didn't work out yet and I didn't use my mind and I missed class yesterday because I came back late from Byron Bay. And so it's Tuesday now and I didn't go to class yesterday, so I'm not feeling any future. I haven't got any direction, so I'm like beating myself up. I'm like, you know, I'm feeling self-loathing because I don't feel much future today because I didn't go to class yesterday, and I'm just every single week I'm just spending all this money on my car, and then it just keeps fucking breaking down in the middle of the street. Goddamn Germans. Yeah, I seen this video on Instagram today, undercover video of like some high up Twitter employees talking about how they shadow ban posts. So like people think that they can just carry on thinking that they've got a normal account, but they'll just stunt people to see their posts. And I talked about this before, but like, what is something you can relate that to without machines? It's like someone talking in a courtroom, but you've got a device on their mouth that instead of being at level 8, you just turn it down to level like 0.05. So if anyone wants to hear, they have to like get like right up close, just to be able to hear that. They really hunt for it, get their ear really close, just to be able to hear. So, like, they're controlling information. You know what it comes down to? It comes down to this select group of people, this aristocracy, just thinking that they are better than you. And it just drives me bonkers. Because who's to say that you're right? History will shine the light on you and show that you are the evil dictator controlling information, thinking you're all that in a bag of chips, and everyone else, the disgusting, filthy, stupid peasants, should be kept down low. They shouldn't be able to breed. Just chop off their balls and make them take Prozac until they die. Yeah, Joe Rogan talked about that with Giannis Pappas, about how, get this, on every week, the average Western person, which is obviously, England, Australia, United States, America, Canada, etc., they consume enough microplastics each week to produce a credit card weight amount. So every week you're producing a credit card and it's going into your blood, and it's making testicles shrink and penises shrink, and that's got to be bad for the ladies. They're going to have to rely on machines to get their rocks off because everyone's dicks are shrinking. Things like bottled water, tap water, they said. Obviously, like microwaving food. And I also watched this video about how in China they are producing children in a machine without semen, without a womb, because they're trying to, their rationale was that they're trying to make up for the disastrous one-child policy. You get this. Overpopulation is a myth. Overpopulation is a myth. The world is on a directory of underpopulation. Like, people are just obsessed with investment properties and drinking coffee and just looking for their next fix. And they don't give a fuck about kids or their family. And so we're dying out. Okay, we're making love to machines, and the machines are winning. So, it's you should have kids and look after them and don't let them play video games all day. Because I was chatting with my colleague today, and we were discussing about how the United States military has a particular focus on hiring gamers, like online gamers. And I have this theory I was discussing with my nephew-in-law, is that what they're doing with this video game addiction is training the young men of today for World War III. Because it's going to be drone wars, man. It's going to be people in San Francisco and Nebraska and Sydney and Newcastle in England sitting there on these machines. They're going to be like drinking Red Bull, Xanax, and they're going to be like, drones. I just killed 16. New upskill. Red Bull. I just killed a baby. Fuck it. So it's all going to be electronic. So these kids now, they've all been trained to like just de-emotionalize the enemy. Don't be critical of them. They're the bad guys. You're the good guys. Whatever. Put on your VR set. It's just like a game. And gamers, like, I think they're like a sense of routine. Sorry about that. Just had a lovely seafood dinner prepared for me. I noticed today. Come here. Sexy bitch. I noticed today I was so much more interesting at dinner time. I was lively in conversation. I was charismatic. I was, I wasn't consciously thinking about everything I was saying. I'd have a subconscious response to things. You're being good at something when you're in the zone. You don't have to plan something before you do it. It simply goes from the core of your being, and it's expressed through these little fish lips. That's because I did this podcast and I worked out before I had dinner. And so I was proud of myself. And then it set up everyone else's mood. Like, because I was in a good mood, I was in a charming mood, there was laughs all around. I mean, if you're doing well, like just okay, or slightly above okay, and you know, you're pumped up, you're being funny, or you're interesting, something to say, you can really help other people around you, particularly if they're a bit older or if they're a bit more introverted. Like, you can really rub off. It's a great charity, it's a great service. It's very nice to be useful. It's very nice to have a responsibility, to have purpose. So, I went to the lighthouse in Byron Bay, and they have these really nice, bless you, these chocolate bananas. Gee whiz, I don't know what happened there, but the camera just turned off. Maybe it wasn't plugged in, maybe just the good Lord doesn't want me to record. Man, Kati's gonna have a hard time editing this one, that's for sure. Poor girl. Gonna have to give her a massage tonight. So say thank you. I was asking my girlfriend's mom, who is a Jewish family, and she has a Jewish nose. And I asked her if she can tell if someone else is Jewish by their nose. She's like, "Da." Jewish people are very proud. I respect them. You know, I used to have this Egyptian boss, and he used to say to me, "You have to get rid of this girl. These Jewish people are taking over the world, and they always think they're better." But I don't think there's like a general rule to people. And like, you gotta look at things in the big picture. Like, half of your personality is derived from your ancestors. And so let's say the Jews have gone through some hard shit. Like, they've been kicked out of some countries, they had to go for the desert for 40 years, eating nothing but crackers. That's going to give them some residual fitness, some residual resilience. And it's going to make them... And also, like, if you're constantly being kicked out of countries and, you know, people are always jealous of you if you're the other, like, it makes sense to me that they're going to focus on financial security as a means of safety net. Because they feel like, you know, they've got a little bag of gold, get them out of trouble in times of need. And every single race is gifted different things. Like Ben Shapiro, he's gotten really obsessed with making more money since the pandemic. And, you know, obviously he's stressed out about this whole virus thing and how the government's handling it. And he's like, look, if I've got a couple extra bags of gold, then, you know, I can get out and quickly get out of the way, you know, move to another place if shit hits the fan. So I can kind of see where they're coming from. And they've got like cultural customs like that make them strong, you know, like the family unit and like the Sabbath, you know, having a day off and having a glass of wine on Sundays, whatever it is, like that, all those things help them out. And like Egyptian people, like, they're gifted in so many different areas. Like, they're extremely good social skills. Like, they can just approach people and like they're really charismatic and really well spoken and like extremely hardworking, you know. So like, we're all supposed to be different. And the Jewish people in Europe, like over hundreds of years, over thousands of years. Like I heard that in this Lex Friedman podcast with this rabbi who started marrying gay people, like as a rabbi. He was talking about racism against Jews and being like, you know how we're kind of tribal people, right? Like before agricultural times, uh, we used to be in little tribes. And so it's in our blood to be a little bit apprehensive of the other. And if the Jews were like wearing different clothes, had guys had big beards, whatever, um, it's gonna be recognizable as being different. And so it's easy, it's lazy to, you know, generalize and be upset at them because they look different. But to me, I don't think that they're to blame really for anything. Like, obviously, Germany were very upset after World War One because they fucking sucked, and so Hitler was like to the people, German people, who's the bad guy? Is it us? Or maybe it's those guys. Yeah, it's those guys. So that obviously he's going to think that. And like, if you're in a running race and you come in second, there's a guy in front of you, you're gonna be like, fuck that cunt. I want him to get cancer because, you want to win. So obviously, like, because the Jews, they had so many people push against them. They couldn't open a regular shop like in Germany. They couldn't do the regular businesses. So they had to think outside the box. And that's what made them more resourceful. Like, I think that's kind of like what the unvaccinated are like now, is that because there's been so much racism and everyone just spits on them and thinks they're disgusting, we develop a sense of ingenuity and have to take initiative and think outside the box, and like, it's character building. And also, it can't just go to pubs, it can't go to like nightclubs and just piss away your whole income. So like, I'm doing other things, going for nature hikes, making podcasts, massaging my girlfriend, like because of the prejudice I receive, I'm forced to think outside the box. And yes, it's tough. Yes, it caused a lot of heartache and pain in the relationship because I can't just take my girlfriend out dancing in Queensland. But, take the good with the bad. And, I'm 31 years old. Like, it's not like I've done my fair share of all that crap, pubs and clubs. So I'm not really missing out on too much. I'm not really like, oh no, my life's over. I can't go sink a $15 pint and watch men throw balls at each other in short shorts on a screen. Oh no. I think physical health is something you really need to pay attention to now. Yeah, because there's a big stereotype that people that go to the gym, or people, obviously not gym junkies, they just on pure workout all the time, but there's a bad stereotype against people who are really into their fitness, is that they're just really shallow. But it's just all about making your brain work good and your spiritual health, and good things come to you. Like, people who are really anti-exercise would be like, oh, you're just so shallow, you're just trying to low self-esteem, like, oh, you just got like some kind of body dysmorphia, so that's why you're lifting weights, whatever. But those people are in denial, and they're not recognizing the main point. Like the Savage Gentleman, the guy who was on Joe Rogan's show the other day, like he said, it's a vital function of the human anatomy. Same as you have to put oil in your car, your human body has to do exercise. And it's not just so you can be charming through dinner. It's not just so your pants fit. It's so you can be critical. You can have your brain in shape so you can see what's going on with these government regulations. So you can filter through the data. You need to keep your mind in shape. I put up this ad on Gumtree looking for work on Saturdays, and I had this eccentric person just give me like a 3,000 word essay. We had a few chats, and he was very aggressive to me and rude. And I've been debating and having arguments with people online since Facebook days. You know, so I've built up a very strong resilience to misguided aggression. And I found the best tactic is to be extra nice. I don't mean be a pushover, but like a lot of people, they're in pain. Right? They've got hip problems. They've got so much fluoride in their brain that it's just got headaches all the time. So they want that fix. They want to find someone to fight against in the comfort of their own home. And they're so shocked if you come at them with love that they're bamboozled. It's like you spoke French to them. And it was because I had on a yellow t-shirt with the United Australia Party on there. And people, I don't understand, but people just get real upset by coal. They're like, coal is basically Satan. And hell, I ain't smart enough to know what's up, but I do know that my heart says it's wrong to hate someone because they work with coal. Like you can't just hate someone because they work with coal. And I think it's changed. I'm pretty sure coal has changed. There's less carbon emissions now, and it's not done in a day. Yeah, it's very nice to build 5 billion wind tunnels, like turbines and solar panels and all that stuff, but that takes time. So the main reason I like United Australia Party is because somebody has to think of the children, and lockdowns are fucking bad for children, and I don't want to see them suffer. And I know that Craig Kelly and Clive Palmer are anti-lockdown. Look, you got to be careful with this virus, but you can't lock up people like they're fucking monkeys, okay? It's just not cricket. There's ripple effects that go on for decades, and it's very, very difficult to statistically analyze the repercussions. You put a rat in a cage for so long, they're just going to go wild. Look at Will Smith. I reckon this whole pandemic thing has really grinded his gears. He's probably spent heaps of time alone at home. Like he can't go to catwalks all the time and just go to all these celebrity events as much. He's probably spent a lot of time on YouTube, and there's a lot of videos of there people taking the mickey out of him and calling him a cuck because he didn't really stand up for himself that much against his wife's infidelities. He was a bit too nice about it. I mean, if the roles were reversed, if, for example, Jennifer Aniston took her husband and he was like, look, honey, I've been fucking your sister and your best friend because I wanted to feel good. I wanted to feel something. And she's just like, oh, I feel like I'm just this wife. I mean, people would be raged. They would be throwing their TVs out the window. Don't do that. I remember hearing a story in South Korea where someone was upset with his daughter because she was on the computer and didn't pay attention to him. And so he threw the mini tower, like the desktop computer, out the window, fell on someone's head and killed them. So yeah, don't do that. I just really hope that people find a bit of happiness that's sustainable, because people are more productive in that way. I mean, obviously negativity is important, but not too much, because then it becomes a ripple effect and you don't focus on other things. Boy, let's take a deep breath together, shall we? Okay, I hope you enjoyed this podcast. Let me know in the comments what you hated and what you didn't hate. My girlfriend's going to Melbourne tomorrow. So it's, got the house for a couple of days. Yeah. Have a good night. Peace and love. Oh, actually, I hate that shit, man. Like, I don't know. I've really changed the past few years, but when I see all those peace shirts, I'm just like, in Byron Bay and stuff. I mean, peace is all very well, but too much peace, you just end up. It's not natural, because, like what that latest guy Joe Rogan said, I never learn people's names. I'm so rude. But he's like a assassination expert. It's the latest one. He was saying that the most standard style of being in this world is tyranny. Like, there's a little bit of freedom we've had the past few decades. That's a unique phenomenon. The general rule for the world is just tyranny. And that just means, like, the leaders have so much power, people are just completely subservient to them, and they do whatever they say, everyone works for the state. It's really quite a treacherous place, and so we have the opportunity to do a lot now. But obviously too much freedom is terrible, because most people just end up fat, and they just end up addicted to video games. So it's hard to know what's better. If you lived in a really strict place where the government controls every single breath, maybe, people wouldn't fall for so much problems. But then again, there's always going to be a black market. There's always going to be people finding, bowls of vodka to skull and, blow up dolls and stuff. Anywho, I heard some inspiring stories from my colleague that, him and his wife are just on basic salaries, and they saved up a house deposit, and they're going on overseas holidays, and they have nice cars and stuff. So it can happen. Like, a lot of young people think that it's too hard now to, get into the investment game, and because I think it's too expensive, but you can do it. You just have to make sacrifices and just not blow your money all the time. But still gotta have fun. Good night. I love you.